Alaska. What
Oh!
else?
I had to put my
Oh, you
glasses
know,
on.
she's like caressing her boobs or something.
Be careful, that comes later.
This was actually about how to keep your sanity, right? Yeah. I hope everyone had this amazing experience and feeling this morning. If everybody, a few of us got up quite early as well, so I praise you for that.
Didn't do any good yet for us. We hadn't reached the end. Didn't see it.
Oh, yeah. I just have an amazing time, and I feel really at home with being with all of you. And thank you for being coming out this afternoon for my presentation, How to Keep Your Sanity. There's some really fun stuff in here. Let's get started. A little bit heavier question where I start with. For you, when we talk about emotions, which is the worst? We all feel it as a caregiver. We feel sadness, grief, anxiety, frustration, anger.
True, yes.
Yeah, and actually I hear it a lot. People say, like, I can remember that after my mom passed, I realized I was 24/7 angry. Family caregivers have told me, and you know, the impact that it has on your life is quite profound. Yes, totally. So I asked a question, you know, and you don't have to answer that out loud, but for you, what's the worst emotion? Which one is the worst for you? And there's always an opportunity to look into that or to get support for it. But by acknowledging it, that's already a great step to start with. Yeah. We may have somebody very interested to see this presentation. Eric, can you check that? More than welcome to join, I guess.
Sorry to interrupt. Is this a private?
You are welcome to join us.
You're welcome to join. Yes. It will take about 20 minutes.
Okay.
There you go, guys. Yeah, welcome. This is a presentation for family caregivers and their loved ones, and this one is about how to keep your sanity and some cool tips and tricks. And I'm a certified caregiving consultant and educator, being blessed to be in amongst this group. And yeah, so when you recognize yourself as a caregiver, when you recognize and acknowledge your emotions, there's a bigger opportunity for you to stay in control instead of losing it and giving it away and going off on the rant for yourself. When you say, like, okay, I acknowledge my emotions, I acknowledge this is going on, breathe through it. There's lots of techniques that you can use, and there's some of the core needs and care needs that you can implement that Andrew talked about. But when you keep your head clear, it's easier to stay in control of yourself, to make proper decisions. So you stay more focused, to keep your boundaries, right? Hello, everybody else is coming in. I know the deck was great, right? What are you not as a caregiver? You're a caregiver. You're a care manager. You're a solution seeker. You're actually just a care everything. Is that how it feels for you? Sometimes or often? I see that. Oh, who left?
You left out activity director.
Yeah, right. Cruise director, right?
Yeah. So what do? Who is helping you? My focus is always on the caregivers, right? What's happening with you? And a question that many people forget to ask is, how are you? Because often the question is like, how's your husband? How's your wife? How's your mom? How's your dad? And it's usually not, how are you? Right?
How are you?
That's right, Jan. But I've heard you asking that often. So I'll put the elephant in the room. In this case, it's the elephant in the igloo. Because I'm Canadian, eh? Actually, I'm still Dutch. I'll be Canadian next year. But sooner or later, you have to admit that there is this obtrusive element in the room, which is called guilt. So I have some check boxes here. Just check in for yourself. Which of these boxes would you check off? I have myself fully under control, or yes, I'm dealing with that. I have lots of help, or am I avoiding guilt? I'm touching on very boldly on some topics today. I just say it as it is. I'm not like, what are you doing, covering, or what's the word? Softening everything. Psychology today says guilt and handmaiden shame can paralyze us. That's what it can do. It's one of the sad emotions, which also includes grief and loneliness. And what does it do? It gets us trapped. Guilt gets us trapped. Don't get trapped by guilt. You know, when you're trapped by guilt, you're not really anymore in touch with your heart. It's like it's not coming from here anymore. There's a lot going on in here anymore. A lot going on in here, not in here. And you lose your self-trust, your self-control, your self-acceptance, and your self-worth. You're losing self-love. And the challenges of the caregiver guilt outweigh any benefits. Right? There's no benefits to it. And you probably have all experienced this. So we're coming up with something funny that I always people start writing like, oh yeah, I need to make a note of this one. So with guilt and the challenges, there's different challenges for you. You may ignore your own heart's desires. You may actually not really know anymore how it is to be you, because you're always giving, and you're giving it away. You may struggle to stand your ground. Now, does anybody know what OPC is? You need to learn this one. It's really cool. OPC rules often. Don't get trapped by OPC, which is, are all the doors closed? Yeah. Others people's crap.
Oh.
Right? Don't let your life rule by other people's crap. It's not my own thing. I learned this years ago when I went through a lot of coaching. Like, don't take on other people's crap. So yeah, I usually get a laugh, but you'll never forget what happened in this room. And it doesn't have to stay in this room, by the way. You can share it with others. Have you experienced that with all these challenges, that your health is affected? So it's body, mind, soul. You may be lacking sleep. You may have digestive issues, body tension, aches and pains. And I'm more than happy, Lynn, to send you the presentation if you would like to, and everybody else. Digestive issues, huge mental and emotional stress. So I go through this because I want you to have the awareness, and I'm pretty sure that everybody in this room, I've been working with you and having the pleasure of being around you and learn from you and be connected with you. You're very aware, but it won't hurt to just give this an extra touch, right? Your path to good health is to maintain sanity, soundness of mind, and judgment. So let's do some fun stuff. This is actually, and I shared this earlier, this is Deb and Peter. Deb, who went from this very happy and strong caregiver to, oh my gosh, I'm so scared, I'm feared, I feel guilty, I'm not enough, etc. So that's how I always worked on her, and she could lean on me, and she did, and the whole family did. And I told you that story a few days ago. Yeah. So I always ask my clients, did your mom or dad tell you this? Because the thing is that people often, a certain age group, they don't like to hang their dirty laundry outside. So they just say like, I'm good, I'm fine. Are you experiencing that maybe too? You can nod or not, but I want you to have the awareness. Are they really telling you what's going on? My experience in the caregiver world is they don't. And they rather tell something sometimes to a stranger, or I can read their mind or in their eyes, but they often don't tell. So you don't know what they need. You don't know what their wants and needs are. Do you know their values? Do you understand those? So cola is crucial. Can you hold your thought for a bit? Yeah, write it down. Cola is crucial. Now, I'm not promoting cola as a drink here. But cola stands for compassion, observe, listen, and ask. When you practice cola, you learn more. You ask better questions. You get more to the core of what you need to know in order to make decisions. You find better resources. You be more focused. And you hold your sanity much better, which is more happiness, right? And that may be contagious. Hey, that's what we all want. So, cola tips. Pause before you speak. A funny story. I tell people, just learn to ask one question, an open-ended question, and then just shut up. Put the duct tape on your mouth and stop talking. And that's where you can actually also use the gentle touch, which actually comes in later. Have a gentle touch, be connected with the person who you are with, and ask the one question. So 2 years ago, I did a presentation for a group of women, and one of the women said, she was actually the host, she said, my mom just calls me 3 times a day and talks for an hour, and it digs into my day. Then I'm too late at school to pick up my children, and we just keep going and going and going. So she calls me 2 days after the presentation. She said there was one thing that struck me, and that was ask one question. So she said, yesterday when my mom called, I asked one question, and my mom kept going and going, and after 10, 12 minutes, mom said, okay, that was it, bye, thanks, talk to you later. And she was like, oh, that was easy. So she did not always reply or wanted to give answers, no, not activating a conversation, or just talking about the cauliflower and the birds and the art and stuff, but just letting mom or dad vent, or your spouse, that's okay. Just one question. And you know, when you listen, I always say, like, listen with all your senses. So listen with your eyes, listen with your ears. You can listen with your nose. Has led me to many situations where I said, like, I think I need to step in when I did home care. And noticing things where you can really prevent risks and injuries. So ask an open-ended question. If you say, did you have a good day? Yeah. It ends. Right? Instead, what did you do today, Mom? I always say to people, if you are looking after your mom or dad, you as our friends on the cruise are in a little bit different situation. But a lot of caregivers who are, and that may include your children, who come in, they come in after work. They're rushed, they've been in traffic, unless they are on Vancouver Island, it's a little bit less traffic. But if you're in Chicago, you rush to your mom, you come in and you picked up something, and you ran to the kitchen, and you start talking to your mom. Well, it's like, okay, Mom, yeah, did you know, oh, you did well, and there's no connection, right? Pause. Get yourself settled before you get out of the car. Take a deep breath. This is my time with my mom or dad. This is my time with my family. I'll go in. Just leave the groceries there when you come in, or drop them in the kitchen, then go inside the living room and connect. Who cares that You just have to put the letters in there. That can be done 10 minutes later. So make sure the connection, so it has a way deeper impact. You're more relaxed and you're not creating any agitating responses. Like, yeah, when you come here, it's always like you never have really time, right? No, you actually don't. But it's more quality time that you create when you take a few moments. So if you have children, then you can teach them that. We all, and that is what Andrew also taught us, we all have well-being at our fingertips. We all have it. We don't need to be energy practitioners. We all have the well-being at our fingertips. So when I was in home care, I had to ask, in some instances, for consent if I could touch somebody. But when I touch somebody, I make an eye connection and I just gently lay my hand on the forearm. I don't always do it on the shoulder because then I reach higher and get more in their field, but just a little lower on the forearm. But don't start leaning like, how are you today? That can be very invasive.
Get in your space, yeah.
Yeah, you get into their space. So be careful with what you do, but it's very satisfying, it's very reassuring and comforting, not only for your loved one or the person you care for yourself as well, right? You don't need to talk. You can just ask one question, have a tea, and zip it up. So I always say you're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. Now, as you can see, that's me in the picture. I need to tell you, we did our own photo shoot for my website a few years ago. So yeah, that's me. Thank you. And that's actually a person I work a few hours a week for. She's still in Toronto. That is my niece from Holland.
Oh, she's so happy.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was like 34 Celsius in Toronto in a penthouse. And we did the pictures in August 3 years ago or something, yeah. And this is a lovely lady who is actually the wife of, she was the wife of one of my clients who at an early stage just so progressed quickly with dementia. And I asked her, I said, would you like to be in my photo shoot? She said, oh, you know, I really I'm way too shy, but I want to do it.
Looks like she's enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yes, we had such a great time. She could not believe that. She stepped out of her comfort zone, said yes, and did it. And we had an amazing day, so I was really happy about that. So that is what I wanted to share this afternoon, and I hope that it was helpful and gave you some insights and just some of these funny little tricks, right? Just think of cola, OPC.
I have some questions and some comments about guilt. I understand what you're saying. I don't feel guilty except when I leave him. If I have to leave him for a few hours, then I feel guilty because I feel like I'm out having a good time and he's home by himself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
What would people feel guilty about if they have taken good care of their loved one? If they didn't cause the disease, it's not like you beat him up and caused. Where does that guilt come from, is what I'm asking.
Who's going to answer this?
I know. It comes from being frustrated and losing and being sharp with her. You know,
Okay, all right, yeah.
You know, I don't want to hear that, you know, for the 5th time.
Okay.
And then you feel guilty. Why didn't I
all right,
snap?
okay, all right, I get that.
And you shouldn't feel guilty when you get away because you've earned it.
No,
You've earned it.
Right.
It's
Thank
your
you
time.
Thank you for asking, bringing that up, and thank you for sharing, Lord. Who else would like to share about guilt?
I think the guilt is the hurry, because we have so many obligations, whether it's food, doctor appointments, pick up the medicine. There's so many obligations that have to, on a list of have to, which are really reality as far as what we have to exist, and then getting that all done plus having a connection and, you know, completing the process, which actually helps someone. Maybe I look at that more from the daughter standpoint than from the spouse standpoint, but it's just profound.
Yeah.
I mean, your comments about the hurry, you're like, oh my gosh, she's in the choir.
Yeah. And for
What time do you want to have dinner? Are you kidding me? Yes,
Yeah.
that. And then I feel profoundly guilty. I mean, of course they need to eat at 5:15, not at 5:45. Every day.
And thank you for sharing your personal experiences, and that's exactly what it is. Guilt is personal. Everybody experiences this different, right? It's what I shared about Debbie and her father. Debbie would really like to go to the cottage because the summer season has started and she's done with the snow, and it takes an hour to go to her dad, and it's frustrating in traffic, and she thinks she has to see him. And she doesn't really have to. She can make a decision, but there's the guilt. The guilt of, I'm not the perfect caregiver. I should be more perfect. You're perfect as you are. Right? What did you want to share?
There's another kind of guilt. I feel that my daughter is helping us, and she runs a lot of these errands, shops, and even though she works full time, and I feel guilty of her. I'd rather do it myself, but I can't go do it.
Yeah.
And so I feel a little guilty about that too. She's taking all that on for us.
Yeah.
And it's not there. I was very appreciative. I always tell her, thank you. We always be sure to thank her for all the things she's doing.
Yeah. And the guilt comes from, we didn't do enough.
Yeah.
Are we doing enough? Yes, you always do enough. What you decide will be enough. And when these issues come up, talk to somebody about it, or if you have your own support group, talk about it in your support group. We can talk about it too. I'm actually going to start up a virtual care and share. I'm not going to share that here now. I can do that later. And I would love for you to be a part of it for a little bit and to talk about these topics, because we can help each other with this, right? And it's not about necessarily me giving you advice, but helping you to discover what would work for you, because we're all different. And as what Lynn says, I actually don't really experience that guilt. That's great,
Yes.
right? And then the small times or the small situations that you said, except for maybe this, and then you find a solution, right? Or you're okay with that in that moment, and you can let go of it, right? So yeah. Anybody else who has a question or wants to share something?
Okay, back to the guilt thing. My husband had an abscess too. Didn't have any pain, didn't have any symptoms. I took him to get his teeth cleaned the week before the cruise because I thought it was a good idea. Doctor says, oh my God, your husband has this damn crater in his mouth. I didn't know this. I didn't know this. So he had his tooth out, which thank goodness they were able to accomplish. Then I felt guilt because I felt like I should have known this. But it didn't hurt him. He never complained about it. It just happened. It just
Yeah.
happened.
Thank you for sharing. That may be a challenge, right? Because you go back into like, what did I not do?
Yes.
What did I miss? Yeah. But acknowledge yourself for, it's okay to not knowing this because he didn't indicate it, right? And you care for him. You pay attention to everything, right? So pat yourself on the back and forgive yourself for believing that it was you who may have overlooked something, right? You didn't. So give yourself permission to, give yourself a pat on the back, like, it's okay. And it wasn't the worst thing that happened, but for you at that moment, it was like, yeah, it's challenging. That's what it is.
You know, the outside world is painfully anxious in some people, not all people. Some people that we encounter in our world are incredibly anxious to find fault with any of us that aren't doing it to their satisfaction at any given moment.
Barb, who unfortunately, oh yes you are, tell them what happened in the airport.
Oh,
That just profoundly, that is not unusual, but that is painful. I mean, you're the caregiver for sake.
Yes, and the attentive daughter and the nurse. To top it off. But my mother said, I need to go to the bathroom. I said, would you like my assistance? No, I can do it myself. I said, I'd be more than glad to help you. She got halfway there. Some lady stopped her and said, what, can I help you? And she says, yes, I'm going to the bathroom. My mother allowed her to take her and toilet her. The person came back to me. I said, oh, and I had checked on her in the meantime. I didn't see the other person's feet in the stall. She came out and she wheeled my mother over to me and she goes, I think she needs help to go to the bathroom. Well, I know that it was, you know,
That is such a normal kind of experience.
That happens all the time.
and then my mother says, you're not listening to me, you're not letting me be independent.
It's okay if I'm told.
You got it from both sides.
Yeah.
It's totally strangers.
Oh,
Right.
It is.
Well, and they think they know better.
Well, no, the perception, you know, the passerby, the good Samaritan, whatever, you know, perception is her reality. I get that, but
That is amazing to me that she allowed a stranger to take her to
Yeah,
the
well, it's
toilet
strange.
stall.
when I had said, how can I help you, Mom?
And you are her caregiver.
Yes.
Well, she wanted to be a little independent at that moment.
Well, that's.
Yes, she
But it
did.
didn't work.
And we were watching her.
And they also want the attention.
Oh, yes.
The attention,
Well, that's
the
a
attention
good
from a
point.
person that's not the caregiver is so much more fun.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
it
a
is.
good point.
It is. Because those of us that are breaking our neck, literally, and you know, this sleep stuff she's talking about, I slept last night.
Oh,
Good.
good.
For the first, I think I slept for the first time in 3 months. All night. I only got up to pee once.
That's so.
what's that feeling?
I didn't, I got up I slept all night. How do you do this?
Great.
So, they're so busy to tell us that we're doing it wrong. But you can't do all these pieces and then live all the stuff you're supposed to live and then regret all the stuff that I regret that I didn't get done.
Right.
And then as soon as I think that I've got it done right, my father's blood sugar is 62 again because I was 15 minutes late to go to supper. And that insulin pump feeds him that insulin at 5:15. And if he's not eating at 5:15, it's going to be a circus.
That's why you have to eat
Every
vodka.
time. And if I don't do it, if, God forbid, there's a train, he's totally going to screw up the whole entire night. Because now his blood sugar's 50. And on the way down, and I'm digging through the center console. Beck the other day is in my car. She's like, I like put that food back in there. That's my dad's food. We're not eating that. I gotta have that crap. Here, eat this, Dad. Eat this, Dad. And then it gets lower and lower, and he becomes belligerent. He's the alert one. And my mom, who is clueless, it'll be fine. It drops all the time. I know
How low can you go?
That's the problem. And when I just stop and call 911 because he won't eat the Rolo, because he's trying to eat the Rolo with the foam on it, and I can't get the stupid foil off of the candy to give it to him. Okay, well, I'm driving the car because I wasn't there on time.
Would you rather have some juice instead? I mean, did you?
Well, we
Juice
always start with orange juice.
Yeah.
Okay, and I can give him the orange juice obviously as I'm trying to get him out the door, because now I'm 15 minutes late. I'm behind the 8 ball on this, and if I don't get them in the car, it's a process, because you have to get my mom's seatbelt on, you have to get her in the right seat, get the seatbelt on. It's a process. This isn't just jump in the car and go, because we don't function that way.
Yeah.
Did we say like caregiving is one of the toughest jobs in the world? Right, that's what we started with, and I praise everybody for having their own solutions. And you have to be creative, right?
and laugh about things. You can now tell it here with a laugh. It was completely frustrating as it happens, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, you need to be able also to let go. So that's why you came here this week, because you just left it all at the glacier.
No, I left it in the airport with whoever that woman was that thinks she knows better than the daughter, the nurse, and the caregiver. But on the other hand, and when I do want to, we have other challenges that caregivers don't. We have a gentleman that has traveled with us numerous times, Brian LeBlanc. Precious, early onset. Used to be the marketing director for IBM. Just precious gentleman. Trying to check into the flight to come with Leslie and I from Pensacola, Florida, and the person at the counter accuses him of being drunk. Even though he has in writing, the card that we all, present the card, I have Alzheimer's, please be patient with me, I may ask a question more than once. He wears a medical alert. You're drunk. We're not letting anybody intoxicated on this flight. And so now he's becoming all of the things. I mean, not only as the caregiver, I'm furious because I want to, cut off her air. He's having to manage this. And that woman did not let him on the flight.
So did he miss the trip?
No, he had the wherewithal to call my cell phone and we got it.
Did he sue the airline?
No, but I'd like to.
Yes, I imagine so.
I certainly would write a letter.
Oh.
To the president.
Oh.
Yeah.
To start with.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That's awful.
Because
And
their
and it's
people
not
need to-
it's not unusual. And
but
that's
their
why
employees need to be trained.
we have
Report
been so fortunate. This ship has been amazing, you guys. I have been met in the hallway by most of the officers on this ship and asking me if they can do more to help us or if there's anything else their employees can do to help us. Barb and Leslie and I sat down with the officers when we first got on here before we ever sailed and gave them a slip that I always pass out, which explains the basics, 11 steps of how do you interact. How do we communicate on a fair, honest basis? And this ship has been phenomenal. I mean, the maitre d' in that dining room is so concerned about our happiness.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm thrilled.
I would never wear a big purple sign with my name on it anywhere.
I
I'm
know.
wearing it on this ship.
Yes.
Very proud.
I know.
That's really great.
You're
That's
really
really
getting
great.
extra attention.
And I'm proud of it because I want them to learn. I don't want anyone, not people that we know and love, but anyone to be turned away from a flight because they're intoxicated.
Unless they are.
Unless they are.
I appreciate, and I get the level of misunderstanding and the lack of ability to make an assessment. I get that, but we have to not always assume that it's bad to start with.
No, that's all about education and awareness, right?
Yeah.
And it is available. They just have to go on the level like we need. And that's the same with supporting caregivers in employees. It's going to be a huge problem. It's already a huge problem. But most of that higher level hasn't now clue yet what caregiving is about.
And I've tried, obviously not well enough, but I've tried to get corporate sponsorship for our corporate sponsorship for our events by saying, with your donation or support, we would love for you to send one of your employees that is struggling with this. Because I'm certain that within the ranks of your company, sir, that you have employees that are dealing with this conversation on a very real basis and could really learn and benefit from being with us. It hasn't gone over real well so far.
It will eventually.
But
It will, and
It
also,
will eventually.
Keep knocking on it.
but that's
and Denise of caregiving.com, who Andrew and I work very closely with, and was a part of our training, and Andrew is part of their Denise's training program. She is getting the corporate world to start listening, right? Tony as well. Thought I was forgetting somebody. Yeah, Tony as well. Yeah, but she's after it, and that's why she wants more people to take her trainings to become a consultants or facilitators, so that we can help train others, and Denise can start focusing on the corporate world. They have to open up their eyes, because it's all our future.
I'm an excellent example of how helpful the staff is here. By mistake, my fault, I didn't write it down. We went to the 5th deck to go outside for the photo shoot, which none of you were there. And there are 2 high steps to get up on the 5th deck.
Very challenging.
And this gentleman from the crew came and helped get her up and down and then back again. And we didn't find any of it. It was my fault.
Do we have to Photoshop you into the picture?
We're going to. We took some photos by the glacier yesterday. We're just
I have ADHD, and if I don't write it down, I'm not going to remember it the next day. Which deck?
Do you feel guilty about that?
Yes, my fault. I was blaming all of you.
Help you.
No, I know, dummy, you
Yeah, I
didn't write
think
it
the
down.
shirt has a question. I wanted to say something.
It's really a tricky question.
Oh, that's typical Dutch, right?
Any idea what triggers mood changes?
Anything. Basic need for basic needs to be met.
And they,
hunger, thirst, temperature changes.
Anything?
Tiredness or bath.
Darn near anything?
Correct. Pretty. I mean, like
Noise.
that, pretty much. Yeah.
Change of schedule.
Anybody here can
Change of
give that
schedule.
answer?
Change of ideas that were someone else's ideas.
And not her.
Yes.
Correct. Absolutely.
I think another thing that causes mood changes is a person feeling unsure, scared. I don't know what's happening. So if they don't know what's happening, they get scared, and then they get a mood change, and that could be anger, it could be crying, it could be anything.
Yeah, light in a room.
Yes.
Go in a restaurant that's too dark.
I do want to tell you guys that we're going to have a panel question and answer on the day that we go to Victoria Friday afternoon, and in this time frame on Friday, and I'm going to leave some cards so that you can start writing down questions. This panel will answer anything that you would like us to answer. Zero secrets. Do we know all the answers? No, but we'll try to direct you in whatever right direction we know how to do.
Just so you
Yes.
know, I saw a very positive mood change with your wife on the bus, getting on the bus yesterday, because it was very difficult for her. But before we got her on the bus, you helped her with her lap robe, and I picked up the shoulder robe and put on. And she gave me such a beautiful look of thank you in her eyes and face. And
it's like that.
I felt so good to make her feel good.
Moods, what changes
triggers mood
mood?
changes? Any idea as to how to influence the effect of the mood change? I mean, nice and quiet till not really abruptly, but a little
Like
becoming angry or obstinate. And one thing that I notice sometimes is too long of a silence. You know, I mean, if we had any visitors coming in every 15 minutes, you know, I don't think that life would be totally different.
Lack of stimulation in the
Majority of the day
environment.
with just the two of us.
Um,
So then something must go on in their head that causes.
So our ability to handle what's going on in there, we can't change, but we can change the outside environment. Then we adjust the environment. And from my experiences, by completely changing that environment. So if it's a quiet room, then I'm gonna grab that phone wherever I laid it and turn on that music. I'm gonna change the environment completely. So if there's music playing and then turn it off. I mean, literally flip the whole entire environment as much as you can within your power. It's a possibility that it's a temperature, that it's too cold, it's too hot, it's too quiet, it's too dark, it's too light. You know, the room environment that we have control over to change, the faster you can just flip it, it will help you flip back that situation. Barb, do you have anything else you can suggest to this? Am I speaking correctly enough?
Music makes it worse sometimes.
Pardon? That is true. This is, I can't tell you that there's always a yes answer, but if it's quiet, like it is in here, and if I grab that phone and turn on that Bose speaker, I can fill this entire room with a song that I know personally she loves. I can do it within 10 seconds. And just from watching and working with her one-on-one the last couple days, she lights up with the right song. She gets real pissed off with the wrong song. but not, I mean, like we talked the other day, that's not necessarily good or bad that she's not happy with the song, but when you're having a mood situation, my recommendation is have a device that you can turn on music that we know she loves quick.
That Alexa, that
Yeah.
or Google Home, one of those things,
They're
that is
great.
the best gadget we ever had in our house. You just think of something, oh, play Elvis Presley's
Play-
Blue Suede Shoes, play opera, play whatever.
Play the aria that you know she loves and tell it, and it does it, yes. And you can make it do it quickly.
Oh, instant.
Yeah, I mean, and
You all have experienced, that's really
and
great.
so-
I don't have one yet.
And so as instantly as this whole
Yeah.
situation melts down, that is a really viable way to at least try. And yes, it can make it worse. But it also has a 75% chance of improving it.
Your gentleman, Brian,
Yes.
said he is now dating,
Alexa.
No, he has 2 girlfriends.
and he is
Oh,
dating
wow.
Yeah.
2 girlfriends.
Correct, he is. He is.
Alexa.
I'm
and
jealous.
Siri.
They tell him when to eat, they tell him when to shower, they tell him.
Right, exactly. She tells him when to make coffee, when to take his medicine, reminds him that he hasn't brushed his teeth.
Technology can definitely be helpful.
Yes,
If you
absolutely.
understand it. What's Alexa hooked up to? I mean, I know
Google.
it's magic.
Just an app on your phone.
Okay.
You have an Alexa app and Wi-Fi. You have to have Wi-Fi.
Yeah, she have that.
And she'll
All
tell
you
you
need is an Alexa.
Google.
she'll tell you the weather in the morning, so you know how to dress for the rest of
I
the day.
can talk to her.
The baseball score if you missed the game, you know, the night before. I mean, you just ask her anything. It's great.
I asked her on a bad day, Alexa, do you love me?
Oh.
There you go.
I haven't even thought
I
of
need to
that.
get Alexa.
My daughter did that.
I'm sorry, I do not have that information.
Oh, she
So that's your
One time my
girlfriend,
daughter
Craig
asked
Burrows
her,
here?
and she left her. She's like,
Alexa's her
I
girlfriend.
love that
don't
joke.
know you
Alexa,
well enough.
seriously.
Yeah, it was like,
Seriously.
remember the program
It's not a joke.
stuff?
That's
Like,
really
so-
It's company. It is. Indirectly.
Something in the house beside.
Well,
And
you
from
go.
a
So
person.
the other thing that I've seen and have used frequently is on demand on a television.
We just
Not
got
stuff,
that.
not stuff that we have recorded, you don't have to necessarily have recorded it. On demand through the cable company has the TV shows that are amusing. In my world, it's that Big Bang Theory. It's funny, it's that particular sitcom works well. In fact, I turned it on the 4th of July when we couldn't find the fire trucks. It's awesome. It's awesome, okay? The other thing is I record baseball games. The Cubs. Now, I'm sorry it was yesterday, and we don't know it was yesterday, so it really doesn't matter. And Anthony Rizzo is just as cute today as he was yesterday, so we're going to watch Anthony. Let's see if he hit a home run today. And Purdue basketball, because we remember names of these kids, connected to the hearts of these kids. From in my world, basketball more than football, and I record those games. Oh, I think Purdue's on. I think that basketball game's on, and click, 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 an hour and a half, I got basketball. So,
Find your
changing
tricks.
that environment, and we've got to keep trying tricks. Just because it works for 2 weeks, on week 3, that trick might not work anymore. But change it up.
Yeah, speaking of tricks, we had a lady next door who wandered. She had Alzheimer's, and her husband was on his last year of work, so he wasn't there all the time. So when her caregiver caregiver wasn't there, she'd come out of the house, and if we saw her, I'd go out and ask her where she was going. She never knew where she was going. I said, would you like to come in and visit Jan for a while? And she'd come in for about 15 minutes, and then I could take her home.
Yeah.
It changed her trip to come into our house. She wasn't gonna come to our house originally, and I couldn't force her to go home, because she had to go, I had to go.
Terrifying.
Or put an old black and white photo album, turn it into a digital slideshow and turn it on at the television when you want to do other things in the house. Let it run. There's so many tricks, right? But it's great to hear all the different tricks here. There are some really great trick special. I'm not the biggest trick specialist. I haven't really dealt with it. But you're more Alexa savvy than I am. I say, hey, how did you? Yeah, yeah.
You find
But
a
we
way.
have a specialist here who can also, you can also talk one-on-one to them and say like, you know, can you give me some specific personal ideas? Sure, we're here to support, right?
I find the best thing as a grandkid around 11 or 12, ours are a little older now. They'll play cards with you for hours, they'll play checkers with you, they'll
Magic
play
tricks.
whatever.
And they know how to use all this electronic stuff better than we
And they
ever
do.
will.
They do, they do.
They will set up your Alexa for you.
Yahtzee. Yahtzee is an Yahtzee works. Beck was telling me how well she makes Yahtzee work. Yahtzee is just great. We tried Yahtzee in activities the other day, and it hasn't worked in this group yet. But in many situations, Yahtzee is
need to know.
For a numbers
you
person.
don't? Oh, good, then I'll be good at it.
The scorecard tells you everything.
Oh,
See more tricks coming out of the box here. Yeah, yeah.
Our
That's
caregiver Hannah plays Yahtzee with Jan all the time, and she tells me Jan wins all the time.
I think that's
Jan's
great.
a numbers
Good
person.
for you.
Yeah.
He's sharp.
Right
He's a
away.
numbers person.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. I think this was an amazing conversation.
It was.
Okay, guys, we're going to keep the caregivers in here for a few more minutes.